Okay. Okay, so I'm looking at NASDAQ. Um, I'm waiting for this range, this value area, to get a breakout one way or another. This light blue line here is a big trade, a big buy. Can see it on the delta profile. These are from earlier because this market profile here isn't very accurate at all compared to the one on my MetaTrader. So for going long, I want to see this here is I've marked out as a decision level. I want to see this break and this high really, because there's a big sell in there, and there's some big buys in here. So I'm kind of seeing that as one side of my range, and then this is the other side of my range. There is, let me see. There's an LVN there, but it's been tested twice. So that's not. I'm interested in this gap here, basically. So if we get a break, I want to get in as soon as I get an LVN and a retest on the low volume node into this gap. I don't really value that. So yeah, that's what I'm looking for. And then on my big trades, I've got yeah, as I say, I've got some good stuff in here. I'm just marking these on for the sake of awareness on my trading view. So yeah, you get the idea. We've got a balance. We want to break the value area, and then on a retest of an LVN, we want to get in to whichever direction we go to. Squeezing this sell here will be good. That would be a cool trade. Because if we break back inside here, it's definitely a long bias, and I know that this profile here suggests that the value area high is here, and for how I'm trading at the moment, a buy wouldn't be valid unless I was above this value area high. But the value area high on my MetaTrader is like here, which is what it's got as the POC. But because of where the big trades are in the time of day, I'm more interested in the squeeze of this sell, the squeeze of this big buy, and this big sell and this big buy here. I think they're the drivers at the moment for a next step out of where we are now, which is also balanced at the moment. also say that the cumulative volume delta here saw a lot more volume in this move here, bullish volume, than any of this here. On the CVD, I consider that a divergence in the sense that this move was a lot more volume than any of this. But we do seem to be going lower for now. We do have buys in here coming in. Let's see what this looks like. Yeah, you've got some absorption going on. Sellers being absorbed by buyers here, maybe. Sorry about that, just plug my phone in. I'm not married to either side really, either bias. Obviously long term bullish on the NAS, but we've run a long way already, so I'll just take whichever I'm told to take here. Looks like we're going lower. Delta is bearish. So this is now the level of the big trade buy here. Yeah, so this is quite strong. You've got quite a lot of sells, quite a lot of buys. We're still in a kind of space whereby the market hasn't picked a direction or no one's won. But it looks like sellers are being absorbed. Yep. Still undecided. As I say, still looks like absorption. But I want to see the big cells in here. Surpassed and break out of here, this value area, before we commit to seeing a trend. At the moment, from here, you're looking at essentially a mean reversion trade, if anything, into here. But obviously, if you have a bullish bias and you have a mean reversion trade that trades with the bias, then that can turn into a trending trade. This might be the break, in which case we'll map the profile and see what we find. Believe it when I see it. Buyer stepping in. Because what we had really here is we had sell off, and then we had a good reaction from this level, which is a previous balance, um, and then buyers failed to take it higher from here with aggressive sellers, and then we've come back down. If we find aggressive buyers again, then we're still again within this range. We want to break, and get a short squeeze from here, or we want the opposite. Just waiting. Still waiting. So session opened like an hour and a half ago, 2 hours ago, and we're still in the range. We've essentially still not opened. The CVD is long. Got some sell aggression there. Buys as well, to be honest. Still undecided. So, what are we looking at? We have some big trades in here, biggish, like buys and sells. Nothing that's created any real commitment. You can see this buy here, and this is what's been retested. So yeah, if we can break out above, then like at the moment the selling pressure is just being absorbed as far as I can see. Because this level here is actually, I mean, we've already kind of tapped it. That wants to hold. That's what needs to hold to remain with a bullish bias. But if that gets wrecked, then that's going to send us back to that that big gap that we haven't filled below. And obviously we can still get to that. So I want to see the sell. I want to see that sell squeezed at the top in order to buy. Because otherwise we could range a bit more and then dump down into that gap. In a way, I'd like the short a little bit more because of that gap below. So since open, we've just consolidated the whole time without any real conviction. We're back at the start. Back at the start that we barely left, to be honest. But it looks like the sellers couldn't take it lower, and that large delta buy was protected. Got some imbalances there. So obviously this low volume node here has already been visited. So I'm working on the basis that that's not valid now. In terms of it creating a reaction that then invalidates my setup, I'm considering, if this happens, I'm considering it valid in spite of that, because of being above this big sell. This, however, is I would consider valid. Let me have a look on the profile in here. Yeah, so right, here we are. We've got some sellers coming in to defend still. So arguably there was a mean reversion trade there. But really I'm looking to trade a trending model rather than a mean reversion one, because of how the market's been moving this time of year. Because theoretically a mean reverting model would be would have been buying in here, targeting up there. But what I'm looking for is the break retest, backed up with volume. Sales coming in. So this buy was successfully defended, protected so far. All right, looks like we're sales coming in. It's one more big trade sale. And if we break, that's just going to fuel the squeeze, which is fine. But this is kind of creating a low volume node in itself, this move, which is obviously so we still need to break this high here. And it's kind of messy, obviously, because you got this big wick. Which seems kind of distracting, or like it makes it harder to, well, makes it all look less clean. For me, the significance is in the big trade, and I'm more interested in closing above that than closing above this wick, because it's quite a long way. We've got several levels in here with big numbers. Could be any of those. Not super far away now. There's still no clean direction. Obviously, we've come above a high now, but that one doesn't hold the significant. That doesn't have the big trade in it, the big sell that I'm interested in. Yeah, there is a level. Still not. Still not broke above. I've got 2 marked out here now. The other cell is actually from here, I believe, in this candle, about there. So that's the other delta level that I want to see us break above. Those two cells, those two big trades, because if they have to close, then we're in long. And on the range, on the value area for the range that we're in, we're also like, the value area high is here. Let me see if I can make that clearer. Don't know if I prefer that or not. Let's have a look. Man, it's ugly. So ugly. It's so ugly, but so clear. So yeah, this is our range. This is what we're looking at. We want to see, still waiting, we want to see the break. The true break and retest of that level. And so far, ooh. So we've got, yeah, a lot of sells here. These are the sellers defending these delta levels now, I think, because you've got the sells are just as big again as they were before when we couldn't get higher. You know, so this is the same as the buyers protecting this level. You've got the sellers now trying to protect this level, which will also fuel a squeeze very well. Got a bit of positive delta still on this candle, even with the big with the selling pressure. There was one big sell in here as well. Don't think it's not as big as either of these two. But I think this is the pre-squeeze space now. This is the consolidation. This might be a little pullback and then through, and then if we can get in on the second drive, that'd be great, because obviously we don't want to see a wick and then back down to go short for the day. If we are looking for our long, because obviously this big, this move here is a massive LVN in itself. There's no volume in it, really. So we want to see break, retest, and then on the second drive, that's what we're interested in. We want to either buy stop the high if there is one that's a wick, or we want to get in on a low volume node wick into one on the move itself, which is harder. Okay, so we've got another sell. Another sell there. I'm getting I get like an audio alert in my ear every time I get one of the bubbles come for a big trade, and it's kind of okay. So we had a sell, and then we immediately had a buy. Which is super interesting, because that's obviously, like, if you're in a trade, or if you're, if you want to add to your trade, that's a good sign that you're getting. I think we're going to get the squeeze now. I am in a small position here now, just because of that lock-in on the sell that was then countered by the buy. Maybe a waste of time, because we've still not broken out. But I'm happy that I'm protecting myself with this buy, big trade, after the sell, because the sell came in and then there was a buy straight away. Plus with so I am within the value area still, which is why it's a very, very small position. It's like almost nothing. It's kind of it's an experiment to see really whether this is where the squeeze will be. And I entered because of these two big trades. Because there was a sell that came and then a buy immediately afterwards. And I think that because of these two big sells here, yeah, because otherwise, without these two big trades, I would be like, my stop loss would have to be like that to cover the low volume node, which is massive because the whole area has no volume in it already. But that gives me some kind of protection, or some kind of insurance. And there's obviously no point having a massive stop loss. But you know, if I'm in early on the trade I want to be in, that's fine. And then I'll do the true break and retest when we break the VA, when we break all the levels here. And if we just chop, then it's fine. I mean, I could already go to break even now, to be fair. Soon as we break, I will. If we do. If these two big trades hadn't happened, I wouldn't have anything to base and take risk on that made any sense at all. If they weren't there, there is no valid entry. And really, again, this is quite a high risk entry. So I'm at break even now. So break even at the bottom of this, yeah, about here. So, because obviously we can still consolidate. And we do still have all this massive LVN. But I mean, it looks good because there's a failed lower low. Just like you had this push that failed, but it did break the high. So you had a lower low, a lower high, a low, and then a higher high. And then here you've got a higher high again after this. And I'm not bananas for structure or anything, but the buyers have protected this level. The sellers are trying to protect this level, but because of the time of day and where we're at, I think that I don't know. I think that this isn't a ludicrous position. I'll be out break even worst. Which will be fine. Because I gave myself a chance of a good squeezeroo. In case that did go straight through. Nope. That's okay. No problem. But that keeps us still within the range. And we can still go straight through from there. That trade's still completely valid. I say that. It's kind of closed through it now, but we're getting a lot of support. We're getting a lot of orders in here as well. I think really now we're past this big trade here, this buy. We're kind of staring down the barrel of this LVN, thinking, you know, that we could go to absolutely anywhere within this massive space. Basically, or we could just go pop. And we don't know, and that's fine. Yeah, you've got these actually. You've got these imbalances right down low. They're like, yeah. But that's revisiting the bottom of the range. Like, that's there, right here. So if we get there, but I think from here we've got. I mean, surely. I'm not doing this. I'm just seeing what it would need to be to become worthwhile. It's not actually that silly. But again, within the VA, I mean, that's a lot of buys. It's a lot of sales. It's a lot of buys. So we are staying within the range. Might as well have been a mean reversion sell. Although I wouldn't take that at the moment because of my overall bias. I want to break out and retest and continuation into the gap lower or into the highs, basically. Man, this is going on for ages. Not had any big trades for a little while now. That's low volume nodes for you. I wonder if we will test these, fill them and then bounce. So they're in line with the wick there. So that puts them like there. Okay, big buy, big sell. So we're looking like that. So this could be still waiting. So okay, what a so I've still not had anything other than this range. Right, I'm out of time here. Nothing to be done the whole time. Bananas. I still think we have a lot of accumulated um, sales here. So if there's a breakout squeeze, move worth having. Same for the downside. There are some big buys. It's kind of like a time bomb. It's only a matter of time, really. I don't want to trade the mean reversion in here. Um, we could be about to get the squeeze through. Who knows? All right, calling it for today.